winner of 81 NASCAR Grand National Stock Car Races, the man who redefined for America the definition of driver, as our onboard cameras followed his struggle to victory in the Daytona 500. Emerson Fittipaldi, the pride of Brazil. He won 14 Grand Prix races and 2 titles in Formula One, the world's premier open cockpit road racing series. Great Britain's Derek Bell, 1983 World Endurance Championship runner-up. 1982 saw him voted by the British press as the world's top driver. Tom Sneva, twice Indianapolis car United States champion. He was the Indy pole position winner this year and the Indianapolis winner of 1983. These drivers, augmented by 8 others, represent auto racing's major venues. Today, Saturday, June 16th, they focus their abilities on this car. Each will drive an identical copy of this racer in quest of $465,000 as CBS Sports presents the return of the International Race of Champions. The 2-mile Michigan International Speedway is the site of round number 1 of the 1984 International Race of Champions. Take 12 of the very best in the world, put them in equally prepared, custom-created Chevrolet Camaro Z28s. Give them a jackpot of some $465,000 with $150,000 to the winner, and there you have the makings of some great racing. Here today at Michigan is round number 1. Round number 2 will be taking place on Saturday, July 7th, on the road course in Cleveland. Then it's on to Talladega, Alabama, Saturday, July 27th, live coverage there, and back here at Michigan in August on the 11th, a Saturday afternoon for the finale to the 1984 IROC Series. I'm Ken Squire, and delighted to have with me as co-host the Dean of American Racecasters, Chris Economaki.
Ken, it's really a pleasure to be here. I was fortunate enough to see all 30 of the former IROC races and watch the greatest drivers in the world compete. When you think about it, 9 of them went on to become world driving champions, 10 won titles in IndyCar races, 7 were NASCAR champions, and 7 won titles in U.S. and international road racing. And they say this year the cars are the best ever.
Let's take a look now at some of the past champions of IROC.
Mark Donahue, later to die on the track, was the first. Bobby Unser, who retired after 3 Indy wins, was next. And then A.J. Foyt, the 4-time 500 winner, won 2 in a row. Al Unser, like his brother Bobby, a 3-time 500 winner, was next. And coming off his world championship year, Mario Andretti won in '79. Bobby Allison, the most recent. Drivers wanting to win for themselves and their branch of the sport made for many spectacular incidents.
I've never met Emerson Fittipaldi until I ran IROC. I'd never met the IndyCar guys, the Formula One people from Europe. I'd always read about them, I'd watched them on TV, and I never raced them. And the best time I've ever had with them when I sat in one of those IROC cars, bumping them in the rear end, shoving them sideways, rooting around and trying to win that race.
The IROC Camaro and its heft proved unfamiliar to many.
We don't run quite as fast, and the cars are well-built cars, so I don't think it's any more dangerous.
Drivers, despite crash after crash, remain ambivalent.
You don't know the people you're racing with that well. I know the IndyCar drivers and even the Formula One, just about all the other drivers that have never driven stock cars that much. I believe they feel a lot of security when they get in one of those Camaros. They're surrounded by a roll cage, a full body, and I think it gives them a false sense of security, which sometimes may make them drive over their head.
And what of those who go too far in taking chances?
A lot of times if you take a liberty, you still get the bill.
Neil Bonnet, a former IROC winner here, sums it up.
We've got those cars that are all so close together, and the name of the game is run from the first flag to the time they drop that flag till it's over, and in turn it's going to be one heck of a show when they do that.
So whether your rooting interests are in stock cars or Indy cars or sports cars, you have someone to cheer for here. Standing by trackside, here is Arnett Jarrett.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm standing by with Tom Sneva, winner of the 1983 Indianapolis 500. Tom, these cars are a little different from the ones you normally drive.
Yeah, they've got doors and fenders and all those funny things on them, Ned, but, you know, the racing's going to be close, and that's what makes it fun.
Does that give you somewhat of a false sense of security?
Not really, you know, it's, the fenders and stuff are made out of fiberglass, so you really can't lean on people like you think you can. And at the speeds you run, if you lean on anybody too hard, you know, you take the chance of getting both people sideways and in trouble. So you really can't do it as much as a lot of people think you can.
Well, good luck out there this afternoon. He's just one of the superstars we'll see in the International Race of Champions here on CBS.
This CBS Sports National Speedway, 100 miles, 50 laps, is about to decide today's round one of the 1984 $465,000 International Race of Champions. There you see one of the 12 cars to be utilized by the celebrated drivers. The trick has been to take the edge out of these cars rather than to put an edge into them. Each of the drivers getting an equal weapon to decide this 4-race series. Same tires, same gearing, same Chevrolet V8 engines, and the same construction formula for each car. Ned Jarrett gives us a look at how one tries for real parity in race car construction.
These cars don't come straight from the dealer showroom. They're born in the Blue Ridge Mountain at Arden, North Carolina, in the shops of famed race car builder Banjo Matthews. They start with 2 pieces of tubular steel to build the frame and literally build the cars from the ground up. Safety is foremost in the construction of the cars. Once the frame and roll cages are built, the cars are taken to IROC headquarters in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, where Jay Signora and 25 mechanics finish the construction. Every part is identical to assure parity. Construction started back in February. Over 2,000 man-hours went into building each car. The labor cost alone was more than $25,000 per car. The finished product is between $50,000 and $60,000. The only difference is the colors and the seats. They've been modified to fit each individual driver. And one of those drivers they had to modify the seat for was Cale Yarborough. He's not quite as tall as the other drivers.
Well, not really, Ned, but, you know, the good thing about racing is when you're all buckled in and ready to go, you're all the same size.
Well, one other thing that you have going for you here today, you're carrying one of the CBS cameras, and that's been awfully good luck for you in the past.
Well, it really has, and I hope it happens again today. The CBS camera has been good luck to me, and I hope it works again today in this IROC race.
Well, Ken, here's one of the hardest chargers in this field. Of course, it's hard to pick out just one that's a hard charger.
Stand by. We'll be giving you the starting lineup for the 1984 International Race of Champions in a moment. There's the pole car, the 2-time world champion Emerson Fittipaldi, ready to get it. And a fine crowd is out here for today's race, and there's a little international flavor here, too. We'd like to welcome a new member to our CBS race team. You may be more familiar with Dick Vermeil from his years as coaching both in college and pro, but growing up in the Vermeil household, his first passion was racing. His dad organized races, built sprint cars, and who better to give you a first-hand new perspective of these cars than Dick Vermeil.
Dave, I've really been looking forward to this opportunity. It's the first time I've ever had the opportunity to be in a big-time race car on a track like this, and it's really exciting.
Well, Dick, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll take a ride around the track and let you see what it feels like.
As Dave hit that starter switch, my pulse rate jumped up just like it would in the opening kickoff of an NFL football game. As we pulled away, the only disappointing feeling I had was I wished I was driving that thing. It didn't take long to get into turn 1. As we got into the turn, you could start feeling the centrifugal force pushing you toward the outer wall. Coming out of turn 2, heading down the backstretch toward turn 3, you could really start gaining and feeling the sensation of speed. We were going about 130 miles an hour, which is not qualifying speed, but it seemed like it to me. As we entered turn 3, it looked awfully narrow, and I couldn't visualize how 11 other IROC cars could all get through this turn at the same time on that first lap. And actually, I right then started saying, I'm glad I was a football coach. As we started coming from home, I was a little disappointed because I really would have liked to have the opportunity to go around 10 or 15 more times. What fun.
What an intense atmosphere exists here right now. Derek Bell, we're both rookies here at this track. Welcome to the United States and IROC Racing. Tell me, how different is this racetrack in contrast to the one you're used to running around all around the world?
Well, of course, I'm used to turning right as well as left, you know, and using the brakes sometimes. Here it's flat to the floor nearly all the way, and of course there's a brick wall at the top of it as well, so it's totally different.
Totally different. How about starting in the back? Is that an advantage for you right now with your experience?
Well, I wish we'd turn the grid around the other way and perhaps I'd be on pole. But no, it's not. I don't know. It's my foot, as you know, I'm a rookie, as you say, and I think it's going to be advantageous for me just to watch for a while and see what it's all about. It's all very well going around in practice and qualifying. Well, we didn't have qualifying, but just tooling around. But to actually get out there and amongst them, I think I'd rather be where I am and not upset too many people until I get to know the ropes.
I can understand that. Let's go to Ned Jarrett and Darrell Waltrip.
Well, he has a lot of experience in this type of racing. Darrell, I noticed you've been sizing that Camaro up over there a little bit. You didn't get an opportunity to run this particular car in practice. Any thoughts?
No, not really. We practice in a bunch of these cars. They're all about the same. The cars are real tight, real comfortable, and I went off last night and raced a Camaro just so I'd have a little feel for one today. And the ironical thing about this car is it looks exactly like the first car I ever had. It's that old brown-looking color, like the six-cylinder Chevy I had 20 years ago. If it had a 6 on the side of it, that'd be it.
Well, that might be some kind of an omen for him here today,
Ken. 6 on the side of it before the race is over.
The 12 drivers invited to the 1984 International Race of Champions have been told to report to their cars, and you'll meet them in a moment. For race number 1 in the 4-race series, the International Race of Champions. Let's meet the gentleman on the front row. Standing by with the pole sitter, here's Ned Jarrett.
Emerson Philippi, what do you think about all of these iron back here behind you and a strange type of a car for you?
Oh, I hope I can hold this position at least for a few yards.
Do you think you got a good shot of staying up here?
I think it'd be very hard because I'm not used to drive a car with pushing.
Well, good luck out there today.
Thank you.
And Dick Vermeil is standing by with Dale Earnhardt.
Right. Dale, what kind of a game plan do you have starting from this position going into that first turn?
Beat Emerson to the first turn.
Both engines, everyone's same power. How are you going to get there first?
It's the best way I can. I hope I can get the jump on him on the start, but, you know, the cars are equal, and it's going to be a close race. I'm just want to stay right in there till the last 10 laps comes down and do the best we can do.
Good luck to you. Let's go up to Ken Squire.
A World Formula One champion and a Grand National Stock Car champion in the front row for this International Race of Champions. Now, here is the starting grid. The pole belongs to two-time World Formula One champion Emerson Fittipaldi. He will be in car number 10. Starting outside of the front row, in the second slot, 1980 Grand National Stock Car champion. With 9 career wins comes Dale Earnhardt. He'll be in car 2. Starting third is the 1982-1983 World Endurance champion, Belgium's Jackie Ickx. His car number 15. Beside him in fourth position is the former 24-hour of Daytona champion, IndyCar and IMSA winner, California's Danny Ungaius, with car number 11. The fifth starter is two-time Grand National champion, winner of 60 Grand National races, Tennessee's Darrell Waltrip at the controls of number 4. Flanking Waltrip in sixth position, two-time Indy 500 victor, Michigan's Gordon Johncock in car 12. Seventh place is the 1983 Indy 500-mile champion, Tom Sneva. The former Northwestern native, now out of Arizona, will be in car number 8. Outside of Sneva, the 8th position belongs to three-time Grand National champion, winner of the Pocono 500 last Sunday. It's Cale Yarborough, commanding car 6. Ninth will be Alabama's tremendous Charger, winner of 13 Grand National races, and the 84 Busch Clash, Neil Bonnet, in car 3. 10th position belongs to three-time Indy 500 winner, 25 wins, and now the PPG IndyCar Series from Texas, Johnny Rutherford in car 5. Grid at 11 is three-time 24-hour of Le Mans co-champion, winner last weekend of the IMSA race at Mid-Ohio, Derek Bell in car 9. And riding alongside Bell in 12th position from Ellaby, North Carolina, former Grand National champion, winner of 21 major races, Benny Parsons in car 7. Les Richter, one of the gentlemen responsible for creating the International Racing Champions, about to send them on their way for 100 miles, 50 laps today. Chris?
I tell you, Emerson Fittipaldi mentioned a push, and that's a racing talk for a car that doesn't really want to turn well. That was designed into these cars to take the advantage away from the stock car drivers who are used to this type car and this type track. And what that means is once the car gets halfway through a turn, it wants to wander up the track. And this has been a general complaint with some of these drivers.
There's the command to fire the engines. 12 equally prepared cars come to life. You talk about equally prepared, it's almost like having puppies. There's always a runt in the litter, and there's always one that's a show champion. Or you hope there's one that's a show champion.
That's very true. I sort of feel sorry for the IndyCar drivers in this round today, Ken. They've been very busy. They flew in from Portland, Oregon this morning to race here. They haven't had as much practice as the road racers or the stock car drivers, and they do have a handicap.
That's right, Chris. They qualified yesterday at Portland, Oregon, and they get right back, these jet setters, and go back to the Northwest immediately following this race today here at Michigan International Speedway. Now you're looking out of Emerson Fittipaldi's car at the rest of the field, which he would hope to keep there, but not much of a chance.
Well, that's true. You know, the Indy drivers' cars weigh 1,500 pounds, so they're driving a car today that's 1,750 pounds heavier than what they're used to. Ickx, Bell, and Fittipaldi cars are 1,500 pounds heavier than they're used to, while the Grand National drivers are lighter by 400 pounds.
There are 4 races. Point distribution, the points are equal in each event. They used to load up the last race. No longer true. There you see the points for all 12 positions. 21 points to win. And it looks like an impossibility to win all 4 races. The next race is Cleveland, Ohio, on a road course, and they reverse the field. The man who finishes last here will start on the pole there. A couple of these drivers are driving with injuries, one of whom, Gordon Johncock, you saw that incident, I'm sure, at Indianapolis, down the main straightaway, into the pit road, bouncing off the wall and up onto the barrier, has a broken foot, but here he is ready to go today. How about it, Gordon Johncock? That broken foot going to bother you out there?
It hurts a lot more when I stop the car than I start thinking about my foot. Same way at Milwaukee a week afterwards. It really didn't bother me in the race. I couldn't use it in the race. I had to put my right foot on top of it to push down because I couldn't push on the brake with it. But it didn't bother me until after the race was over with.
Gordon Johncock still on crutches, but ready to get it with a program this afternoon here at Michigan International Speedway. Field organizing, they will take one more lap before they turn them loose. Now they're up in turns 3 and 4, and there you see the money to be earned. And there's only one payoff. That's interesting, Chris. They pay $20,000 for last place, $150,000 for first, and that's pretty good digs.
You know, but then nobody gets any money today. They have to wait.
Second place worth $75,000. Some of the ancillary cars pulling in. Pace car staying on the track. Benny Parsons, great race driver who has won in stock car racing on this track. Who has the advantage out here, Benny?
Oh, I would think that we have more experience at this type of racing than some of the sports car people do, than Ickx or Bell or even Fittipaldi, and probably more experience than the boys from the kart organization. So, yeah, I think we probably do have an advantage, but being the cars being as equal as they are, I don't know if it's going to be an advantage or not. I don't know if anybody's going to have an advantage.
Of course, Benny Parsons is back here tomorrow for the 400-mile race that you'll be seeing on CBS. Full flag-to-flag coverage of the Michigan 400 is tomorrow on CBS, and Benny will be starting in the 7th position. Bill Elliott has put a Ford on the pole for tomorrow's Michigan 400, and he did it by an amazing number, almost 1 1/8 second faster than any other Ford. Just a quick prediction about tomorrow's race, Chris.
I know there's a whole gang of Chevrolets behind that Ford, and they're really ganging up. You know, we're near Motor City, and all the factory people are here to watch. It's going to really be a scramble tomorrow.
All right, we're back inside Cale Yarborough's automobile. We've been there before when he's taken us to victory. Question is, can he do it here today? We will not be able to talk to these drivers in this very intense race. It's just 100 miles, 50 laps, and they're really talking about doing what you used to call agricultural racing, Chris, to get across the finish line here, right down in the grass.
Well, let's hope there's no running in the grass. You know, it's interesting, Ken, there's no split of the prize money with the drivers get it all. There's no pit stops. There's no strategy. It's all just pure racing.
Well, there you see the track analysis, 2-mile oval. It's banked rather nicely. And this track is one that can lull you. It can fool you. When you feel comfortable here, you're in trouble. You're not really going fast enough.
You know, when you look at the track, there's very little straight stretch here, and there's no level stretch. Everything has got a tilt to it.
Now you're coming through the Big D down across the start-finish line, and we're ready for start. Pate's car is in. Emerson Fittipaldi now. And that orange car on the pole. Beside him comes Dale Earnhardt. And you are ready for round number 1. 12 of the world's best. Take the green flag, and the International Race of Champions is underway.
And it's side by side getting a turn. Look how high on the track Earnhardt is. Way up. It could be slippery up there.
These cars a lot slipperier than the cars that used to run the IROC series, but some were saying they don't draft quite as well. You can get away, you might have a chance. They're still side by side out of turn number 2.
This shows the quality of the cars, Ken. Look how close that group is. Nobody's pulling away.
Back straightaway, Fittipaldi. Now Earnhardt breaking out in front. It's Earnhardt going to the point. Fittipaldi back to second. And look at that thing rock and roll as it goes up toward turn 3.
Now Fittipaldi's being passed on the inside.
Danny Ungaius into second.
Danny is the black car. It's easy to remember Danny's car. He's always driven black cars. Danny's some 60 pounds lighter than his usual racing weight, and I'm wondering whether he has the muscle to handle this heavy car for this distance.
49 to go. Fittipaldi dropping to third. And now we're seeing some different lines. Some coming down, taking a real low scoot into that first turn. This track takes a lot of weather, a lot of abuse. No one thought we'd get a track record yesterday, but that's what Bill Elliott gave us for tomorrow's race, which you'll be seeing on CBS. Here's Earnhardt out in front.
It's interesting. We have a stock car driver, an Indy car driver, and a road racer in the top 3 positions.
Let's see what'll happen when he goes to turn number 3. See them walking along over that track. A little further back in the pack. Fighting for 5th position now. See Jackie Ickx just getting past and sliding back a slot.
Now the shuffling is beginning. The drivers are beginning to get the feel of it. They said during practice that the drafting qualities of these cars are far better than any previous IROC cars. In fact, they say that these cars are without question the finest cars ever used in an IROC before, and it gives the drivers a lot of confidence to be in a machine of this nature.
Gordon Johncock on the outside in 4th. Jackie Ickx, the white car, falling back. And there's Cale Yarborough beginning to make a move. Cale Yarborough beginning to pull up on Jackie Ickx.
It doesn't look like he has any room to go anyplace, does it, Ken?
They said they're going to swap some sheet metal. Not really sheet metal. They hear these cars fabrication. Not a metal body on these cars. More like what they would run in the ASA.
Right here's where the push wants to come into the car. It wants to go up to the high. Cale's doing a great job of holding it down low as you come into the grandstand straight. Speaking of the grandstand, Ken, I think this is the largest crowd to ever see an IROC race.
Earnhardt perseveres for still another lap. Ungaius stays in second. Fittipaldi holding up well. Johncock is next in 4th, and it's a 3-car dice. And there's Yarborough right in the middle of it in the yellow car for 5th position. Yarborough holding on as they come around through turn number 2. Front 3.
In past IROCs, Ken, there's always been a complaint that one of the cars wasn't really worthy to run with the rest of them. We haven't heard that complaint here. The cars are really even. George Palmer and Dave Marcus have done a great job, and said, here we have passing.
And you see Johncock on the outside trying to take his spot, and here comes Ungaius, and it's a new-looking Danny Ungaius. He has shed some 60 pounds, much lighter. Had to lose the weight after that severe crash, early 80s in Indianapolis. Told him to get the weight off the leg. The old Hawaiian is really running well. He's right up there thundering, battling for first place.
Danny Ungaius, his nickname is Danny on the Gas, and he's on it right now.
It would be something if Danny Ungaius could put this all back together. He's won in the International Motorsports Association. He's won in IndyCar racing, has a lot of pole positions. Here he is, Danny Ungaius, now out in front in the black, number 11.
The Swede Air at first place, and look at that lead he's putting on them. This is remarkable.
Coming around, 4 laps complete. Ungaius stays in front. Behind him begins to develop a story. Into second place will be Johncock, dropping back to 3rd. Goes Earnhardt, and here comes Cale Yarborough's car. He's in 4th and trying for 3rd. And look at that cluster.
Boy, that's beautiful photography and great racing. 151 miles an hour, that's almost 3 times the national speed limit, Ken.
CBS onboard cameras for tomorrow. We'll be riding with Dale Earnhardt, Neil Bonnet, tomorrow's Michigan 400, and with Richard Petty as he tries for his 200th win. There's your leader, Danny Ungaius, on the point.
And Bonnet has come from the 5th row to second place in 5 laps. and he's got a bad hand.
Broken hand. We've had to lay off a couple of weeks. Now here's John Cock into it. As they come around, out of turn 4. Very deceptive turn. So easy, but it can get you in trouble and put you in a long slide. Back to the line.
This is CBS.
Race, as opposed to the NASCAR stock cars and most other forms of racing, is that there are only 3 pits that are set up to service these cars. They don't really anticipate any pit stops. However, we've already had one with Derek Bell when he came in and checked his car out. But they have plenty of men here in case as many as 3 cars have to come in at any one time. Well, they can service them. Certainly makes it a lot easier for those of us who cover the pits on CBS Sports. Most of the time, we're running from one end of the pits to the other, and we like that.
Danny Ungaius up in front, former winner here in Indianapolis cars at Michigan, won here twice. The old Hawaiian and car number 11 up on the point. Neil Bonnet rides in second. As you see, Cale Yarborough is in third, Johnny Rutherford fourth, Earnhardt fifth, Gordon Johncock riding in sixth. Back in the 9th position is Tom Sneva, and Sneva has one of our onboard cameras, Chris.
Dale Earnhardt was up front, and he's deep in the standings now. That's a good look that Tom Sneva has on the track.
Pole sitter. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has won 2 IndyCar races in the PPG Series this year.
He's always wanted to do well in stock car racing, and he's had his problems in stock car racing. In fact, a few years ago at Charlotte, he drove in one, and he had to stop because he was physically exhausted, and that led him into a physical rehabilitation program, so to speak.
Ready for the start, and you see Earnhardt dropping to the inside, trying to pick up a little on Johnny Rutherford, the light powder blue car, as they come to the line. They're back on the way. Ungaius in front. Second, Cale Yarborough in third, and it's side by side for fourth. They almost touched there as they go into turn number 1, into the 18-degree banking, and Neil Bonnet's making a strike for the first position. Bonnet going for first, Cale Yarborough tucked in there in third as they swap them around out of turn number 2. They look a little loose there. Back straightaway, Bonnet first, Ungaius second, Cale Yarborough third. 1, 2, 3, back straightaway. And a real snarl back in 4th position. Neil Bonnet is your leader.
That draft is enabling that top 3 to again pull away from the rest of the crowd, which is bunched in the back.
Here's Cale Yarborough working on Danny Ungaius. And as they come by, they go back a lap on caution. They will now have 10 complete. They go back to the last previous lap, as they do on a short track, on a half-mile track. Saturday night kind of special race. Here's Cale closing on Ungaius.
You can see how stable the cars are and the slight chopping motions that Cale uses to steer his car.
Behind the front 3, that's a good battle going on for 4th position. Johnny Rutherford is there, drives Dale Earnhardt off and back to 5th spot for a moment. Here's where the action is, up in front. Bonnet leading, Ungaius second, and the yellow car, Cale Yarborough maintaining third.
Bonnet's wrist is a major concern to him. He told me that if he re-injures the bone a second time, doctors have told him they're going to have to put a pin in and he will lose the use of his hand. So it's not so much the pain, it's the worry that's on his mind.
Broke the wrist in Martinsville, Virginia earlier this year, just working on a lap car. Nothing he doesn't think was too serious. In fact, he finished the race. But the problem has become worse, and he's re-broken it a couple of times. Took a couple of weeks off. Now here's Ungaius closing outside. Ungaius on the high side. Down at the bottom, Neil Bonnet throws a little bit of a block, and Ungaius goes low.
That's the push that's built into these cars. You see, you just can't go that fast and keep the car in the line. Oh, Danny's putting the chop on Neil Bonnet. Oh, it's starting to get rough.
Danny Ungaius back in first place. Ungaius, who started out in Top Fuel and Funny Cars, now here in this International Race of Champions in the drag racing series, on to the sports car world, the Indianapolis cars, now leading in car number 11.
Ungaius needs a win, Ken, for his reputation. He's been crashing too often, really, in races, and a win here would give him a lot of confidence and reestablish him as a frontline driver.
Invitational race, and Ungaius very much wanted to be in this. He had requested and asked to be in this event, and he wants to prove himself. And here he is leading Neil Bonnet into the back straightaway.
This is his 3rd IROC start, and his best previous finish in former IROCs has been a 5th right here at Michigan in 1978.
Now they close up. Here's Cale Yarborough. Still swinging along through traffic. There's Yarborough. And now he has to look at a new face that's fighting with him, and that looks like Johnny Rutherford's car. Johnny Rutherford has moved up.
The And there's another man who needs to do well from a career standpoint. Johnny is without a regular IndyCar ride this year. He had a lot of crashes last year, and he's trying to reestablish his reputation as well.
Right behind Cale Yarborough is Gordon Johncock, and then comes Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt following Johncock as they continue to snarl around this 2-mile facility for 50 laps, of which 13 are now complete. And out of the back of Cale Yarborough's car, hello, Gordon Johncock.
You know, Gordy is racing before a hometown crowd. He lives only 60 miles from here in Coldwater, and there's a lot of rooters for Gordy in the stands today.
Johncock moving on the outside of Cale Yarborough. Takes a shot, pulls alongside.
You can see, Ken, how comfortable the drivers are getting with their cars now. They're doing things now they wouldn't do 5 laps ago.
Parsons' car getting around Yarborough. The blue car of Parsons pulling up and getting around Cale Yarborough. The lead car still is on Gaius. Had a good fight with Bonnet. Now he leads by about 3 car lengths.
It's become a stock car versus IndyCar race. The road racers are in the last 3 places now.
Benny Parsons on the move. Remember, he started 12th on the start. He likes this track. He's a former winner here in NASCAR Grand National Racing. But here's the man who's won here at Michigan twice in IndyCars. Danny Ungaius up in first. Neil Bonnet maintaining second. They'd like to get it down to a 2-car decision.
Half the field in the race have won IROC races in the past. Ungaius is one of 6 who have not won in IROC in its past start.
Rutherford runs in 3rd. Johncock in 4th. Parsons in 5th. Cale Yarborough seems to be trickling backward here. For a run up through the field, Yarborough going back a little. I believe that's Darrell Waltrip's car that just moved under Cale. Modern progressive colors on these cars, Chris.
See the grip on the wheel, and that'll be interesting to compare the Yarborough style when we go to the Sneva car to see how Tom handles the steering wheel in the corners. Dale Earnhardt way back in 9th place, and the shuffle is on.
Remember, he was up on the point when it began. He was in the outside of the front row. Now Bonnet looks like he wants to take another shot at the leader. Nobody wanted to really say where they wanted to be on the last lap if it got down to it here.
They talk about the slingshotting capabilities of these cars, and they say they're not as good as the old where you can slingshot past someone. The slingshot today brings you alongside, and then it sort of stops, and it's wheel to wheel the rest of the way.
And there's not much pull in the draft either. You get 3 car lengths back, and you can say goodbye. If you get cut off, it's pretty hard to catch back up on these cars as compared to a larger stock car.
Be anxious to see after that sort of really rough, discourteous exchange of the lead between Ungaius and Bonnet. We're anxious to see what kind of a pass will ensue next.
Bonnet trying a lower line in turn 1. There are 17 complete of the 50. 100 miles the distance. Let's go to Ned Jarrett standing by on pit road.
Ken, we're with Jay Signori, who's the manager of the IROC series. He's the man that oversaw the putting together of these cars. Jay, they've run a good many laps now. Any observations on how the cars are performing?
Right now, I think we're pretty comfortable with what we see, Ned.
Do you feel that you have the parity in them that you tried to get?
It looks pretty close currently. We'll have to wait till the end. The drivers are getting used to the cars, and maybe they'll pick up and close up a little bit more.
Of course, we've seen Yarborough and Bonnet and guys pull away a little bit. Is that because of their driving that has let them do that?
I didn't hear you on that one.
I say Ungaius and Bonnet have been able to pull away a little bit. Is that because of their driving that they've been able to do that?
I'm not quite sure there. That's what we want to see. Whether it might just be that those 2 cars are a little more comfortable for their driving styles.
Got a car spinning in turn 2. Got a car loose in 2 all the way around. He started to lose it in turn 1. And didn't get collected by anyone as the field moved by. I think it's Tommy Sneva's car. Tom Sneva's car. You could see it. Almost looked like he started to cut a tire down. It started to get away. He picked it up, went about another 100 feet, and then it really got out from underneath it. second caution comes at lap 18, none counting laps now.
It's an embarrassment for the Indy winner. They call him the gas man in open wheel racing, and he's going to have to come in and have a look here as the field once again slows down with 19 laps on the record book.
First race here in the IROC Series, 1977 for Sneva, and he crashed in his first 2 starts at Michigan on this very track and at River Snides. Now here we are inside of Tom Sneva's car, and he is electing not to come in at the moment, but you got to think he flat spotted the tires. Now we're inside the car, Chris. Let's see what happens.
Well, I want to see how much he winds and unwinds the steering wheel.
All right, you're about to go for a ride. You're in Cale Yarborough's car, following Sneva, and see him get a little loose here? Sideways, collects it.
You know, it's interesting. Cale turned toward him. There's an old racing saying that when a car is spinning in front of you, you should aim for it, because by the time you get there, it'll be gone, and that's just what he did.
You could see that first correction he made, but then the second time up, couldn't hold on to it, and went out from underneath Tom Sneva. 1983 Indianapolis 500 winner, having problems here. Here's another angle late in the incident. Back there where Cale was following, you really saw it start. Just didn't take a set, and away it went.
Much more of this, Ken. It'll be a used tire sale after the race today.
Well, there's one group of people sitting over here on top of a truck that never get a chance to... Here is the shot from the Sneva car, and he's now on pit road. Oh, my. Talk about a mad merry-go-round, Chris. That's it. Our camera looking out the back as Sneva was looking out the front, back, sides. 360-degree loop for Tom Sneva. Now you see him on pit road. Let's go to Nip.
Well, Ken, they are changing the tires on Sneva's car. I think the reason he took that extra lap before he came in was to check it out to see if he had a vibration, if the tires had been flat-spotted. Apparently he felt that they had, so they are putting new tires on, so that means that Sneva will go a lap down. So it's going to be awfully tough to make that up, especially as close as these cars are running.
Tom Terrific, spinning in turns 1 and 2. He's managed a 4th and 5th place finish in some previous IROC races, and now he's got to come out of shotgun to get back in this one. Let's take a look at the standings here. Angaya stays in front. Neil Bonnet is in second. Johnny Rutherford maintaining third, while John Cock, Waltrip, and Parsons try to keep themselves in this race. We'll be back with more from the Michigan International Speedway in a moment. Mark, quintet up in front. It features some of the very best of the Indianapolis Car Series, the PPG Series. A couple of Winston Cup drivers in there now. Neil Bonnet in second, and back in fifth, Benny Parsons. But it's Angaya, determined to do well in this series this year. Halfway this time by. 50 miles down, 50 to go. There's Sneva Yarborough. Remember that Sneva is really 1 lap down. He is 1 lap down because they had to work on his car, and they provide a penalty if any work has to be done on the car. There's Cale Yarborough right up underneath Tommy Sneva's car, running about 2 inches of spoiler on these cars, 2 to 2.5.
You know, the elder statesmen aren't doing bad. John Cock is the oldest driver out there at 47. Rutherford is the next oldest at 46, and Yarborough is the third oldest at 44. The baby in the race is Dale Earnhardt at 32.
Invitational Series. Next race, Saturday, July the 7th. Road course, Cleveland. Here's Yarborough working to try and get by that car of Sneva. Halfway and then some in this event now.
John Walker was back in 6th place. We talked with John before the race and asked him, there we go, up front. And look at this. Oh, Angayas is having none of it.
Angayas wants it back. Bonnet just trying to snuff out that challenge, and he's able to pull it off.
You know, you have...
Look at John Cock come on.
Hey, John Cock found out that if Bonnet can do it, I can do it. That's the race driver's viewpoint.
What were you going to say, Chris?
The respect that they have for one another at these speeds, you know, they don't race with one another. John Cock and Bonnet rarely see one another on the track, nor does Angayas, but yet they're in there fender to fender.
And Rutherford saying, gee, if it's like that, I think I'll have a piece of it. Oh, look at Angayas right down below the line out of 4. Now they're beginning to use up some racetrack. Now they're getting comfortable in those cars.
Angayas went from below the inside line to the outside wall in 100 yards.
And added over 165 miles an hour. Dandy battle. Bonnet in first, John Cock second. The black car of Von Gaius is third.
You know, Ken, you may think that they're driving flat out all the way around, but they're not. They're shutting off going into the corners because of the handling characteristics of the car.
Well, they'll scrub off speed if you leave it on the floor.
Right.
If you leave it on the mat, you really go slower. Bonnet first. There he is, Neil Bonnet up in front. And here comes Gordon Johncock closing ground. So you got an IndyCar stock car battle for the lead.
Would it be something if Bonnet and Johncock were 1-2, a broken hand and a broken foot, and then all the healthy ones behind?
The battle of the halt and the lame.
Right, the walking wounded.
Magnificent job by both of them. You know, they're so determined, and there's just so much wanting to finish this series and win it among these people. Neil Bonnet is absolutely one of the most competitive people in stock car racing, and the same can certainly be said for one Gordon Johncock.
Now that lap speed was a little bit slower than the fast lap Danny Ongaias set a few turns ago.
Still lying fifth is Parsons. Don't want to mix it up just yet. Johncock taking a crack at first place. Outside. And Bonnet says hello. I'll just move over here, thank you very much. International Race of Champions coming by to complete 30 of 50 laps.
The road racing drivers don't seem to have too much of an appetite for it, Ken. They're in the ruck today.
But coming up, they'll be on the road course, and they will be starting up front because the cars that finish out back, well, Steve will lap down, he'll be right on the point.
Now that's planning. I think that maybe Fittipaldi, Bell, and Ickx are trying to be last so they will get the pole at Cleveland.
No way, because the way they pay off in this series, you've got to finish well in every one of the races. You can't wait for the next race. Here's Ongaias back on the inside.
Diving down low in the black car.
Now the third race, which will be run at Talladega, Alabama on Saturday, July 27th, the low point driver in the series after 2 will start on the point. And then the last race back here in Michigan.
That's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a day.
Look at this.
Look at Rutherford. Inside, outside. Thank you very much. And while that is all going on, traipsing out in front by about 4 car lengths goes Neil Bonnet. Here's Johncock around Rutherford. Parsons just sits there. I wonder if he knows something the rest don't know, Chris.
Well, who knows? But they're certainly getting comfortable in these cars because now they're starting to use more of the racetrack.
Ongaias charging to the inside. Danny Ongaias making a move as they come out of number 4, coming around to complete 31 laps. Quick move down the main straightaway. The crowd's on their feet. Boy, are they loving this. Ongaias, low.
He scored the lead in that one, Ken.
Back in there again.
Trying to move up in front of Bonnet.
Way down low comes Johncock. And they touch, and Ongaias is sliding. Picks it up. No, can't gather it back.
Hang in there.
Keeps it out of the wall.
You know,
another second for that, and say goodbye to one race car. Caution's out. Caution is out, third time today.
2 spins for the IndyCar boys and 1 for the road racing boys.
Well, even a half second there with those 3 cars running side by side, and it would have been a calamity corner.
So he can take on Tom Sneva now for last place.
Danny Ongaias, who has just made a tremendous run. Get a chance to look at that one again. Dicing for the lead. 5 cars up in 1 and 2, and let's look in replay. What happened here? Now there's Ongaias down low. Johncock had taken the inside. Was there a tap?
No, I don't think so. I think Danny went down and the car got loose. Now, he's really trying to save it here. He's gathering it up, as they say in racing. Look at Bonnet starting to take evasive action. On the brakes. Danny's hanging in there, but, you know, 3,250 pounds of racing car wanting to go where it wants to go. It doesn't behave too much under these circumstances, like a rodeo bull.
I always liked Buddy Baker's line after he had a big spin like that and didn't collect any concrete. And said, that was a marvelous job you did. And he said, isn't it amazing what you can do with your eyes closed?
Yeah, that's true. They do spin. Well, he's down on the grass, and
he was lucky there. There were that 3 car
You know who was
calamity to come
watching
along.
desperately, Ken, is Jay Signori, who has to fix these things when they get dinged up. So far, all they've had to do is change tires. It may well be that Jay's luck has run out.
Great save. Now, let's take a look from inside Cale Yarborough's car. The International Race of Champions here on CBS. Now watch Cale's car. There you see the incident directly up in front of him, and he is part of that trio moving down. And he had a little time to realize that what goes up on an 18-degree bank comes down, and he had clear sailing through there.
Did you notice when Cale went by, he didn't even look? Straight ahead. It's all business.
Mark of a professional, isn't it? I mean, you don't stop to look at a wreck.
Rubbernecking, it's called on the roads in New York City.
So the field is being collected by the pace car. We've had 3 cautions, but nobody's out of it yet. Gordon Johncock is now leading. Rutherford is second. Relegated to third is Neil Bonnet. Benny Parsons now in fourth. Here comes Darrell Waltrip to fifth. And hello, Cale Yarborough. Car number 6, the yellow car, back to the 6th position. 31 of 50 laps complete. Non-counting laps now. Here's Ned Jarrett.
Ken, Danny Ungais chose not to come into the pits, and checking with the IROC officials here, they say that is his choice. He made a lap, of course, and caught up to the field and checked out his tires. Apparently didn't have any vibration. Pleased with the car, so he chose to stay out there.
Chris, doesn't that mean he doesn't want to go a lap down?
I would think so, yeah, and he maybe will live with the vibrations. I wonder what that does to the handling qualities of the car, and how safe is it if Tom Sneva wore his tires through to the fabric. Danny Ungais may be out there on some tires that wouldn't pass inspection in my home state.
Back in New Jersey? What about the situation on Ungais here? 33 laps are now complete. You think the rubber will stay there?
17 to go, 17 racing laps to go. I really don't know. I'm sure the people from Goodyear got their fingers crossed.
Green is out. Johncock leads. Rutherford second. Bonnet third. Parsons fourth. Waltrip now fifth. Cale Yarborough in sixth. Sneva right behind him, a lap down as they get it back under green. And immediately we have another challenge for the lead. Here's Bonnet going back to second place, getting beneath Johnny Rutherford and closing in on Gordon Johncock. How much pride is there, Chris, among these guys? These are Indy drivers, these are sports car drivers, these are Grand National stock car drivers.
You know, they want to win for themselves, but they also want to win for their form of the sport. They're waving the flag for their type of racing.
Earlier, we asked Darrell Waltrip, where do you feel the Grand National drivers will be at the finish of this one?
I personally believe that at this racetrack, the race is going to come down to the 4 or 5 Grand National drivers in the race. We've run here a lot on the racetrack. We know how to draft. We know the feeling of these particular cars. For one of the other drivers to do really well would surprise me.
Well, there he is, staying well up in the field now, maintaining 4th position, Darrell Waltrip.
We talked to Darrell a little bit about the cars, and he said, you know, it's annoying to know that he could make the car just right for him in 5 minutes, but it's not allowed. These cars are all the same, and none of them are quite right for the driver. A racing car has got to fit a driver like a suit, and one person would like a suit with narrow lapels, another with wide, another guy likes his pants high, another guy likes his pants low. It's all the same suit, and that's what it is out there. These cars just don't fit these guys the way they would really like them to fit.
A military cut.
Exactly.
Parsons 4th, Waltrip 5th. Running in 6th has been Earnhardt. Now Cale Yarborough is making a big run down the inside. And we're looking out at Cale Yarborough's car as he dives to the inside. That little triumvirate has been running side by side, 3 of them, and back to the inside comes Sneva again. They're having a wonderful time out there. Look how high Cale's hands are on that steering wheel, Chris.
That's just gripping. Look at this.
The sports car set has it done quite that way, but it sure is effective for Mr. Yarborough. 3 Grand National stock car wins, including Pocono, Pennsylvania, just last weekend for this man, Cale Yarborough.
Ungais has worked his way past Jackie Ickx and Derek Bell.
Bonnet moves in again. 36 complete, 14 to go. Johncock is still there on the point. 21 points for first place. 4-point intervals back a ways. Bonnet in that second spot. The all-important first race in the 4-race series the 1984 International Race of Champions. It's a dandy. How does this stack up with what you remember from IROC, Chris?
Well, I can't get over how clean the race is. In the past, there was fiberglass all over the racetrack and cars with fenders torn off and bumpers dangling and so forth. It was a rough and tumble, push and shove, cut and thrust kind of racing. It's much cleaner today.
Is it because it's the first time out?
Oh, I think the fact that the money has to be won. Before you got paid to come, and it didn't matter where you finished, you still got your money. Now you have to be around at the end to collect that $150,000.
Bonnet is there for the finish. Johnny Rutherford in that light blue car. He's awaiting that white flag, you can be sure. And Benny Parsons probably has intentions very much in that direction.
You know, it was this very same track where Gordon Johncock crashed last summer and broke one of his ankles. Must go by that spot up there in turn 1 and wonder as he goes by.
Here he is working turn 3 and getting just a little bit of advantage as Johnny Rutherford drops inside of Neil Bonnet. Out of 4. Rutherford inside. And boy, he looks determined.
Well, his car's pretty steady down there.
Back they go to turn number 1. And he just inches back in there. Realizing that Parsons was making an assault, he decided to secure that position number 3 one more time. Dandy race. 38 complete, working the 39th. 3 cautions thus far. No serious incidents. 3 spins. Derek Bell was the first. Now they shuffle a little.
You can see some bumps in the track there, really rocking the car.
That's why it was so surprising that Bill Elliott set a new track record in qualifying for stock cars for tomorrow's Michigan 400, which you'll see flag to flag right here on CBS. We'll be back with more in a moment. This time by 10 laps to go. 5 drivers close enough to charge and take that checkered flag. You know, Mr. Konamaki, I'm Ken Squire, and Chris, this looks like it can be a 5-car shootout right at the line like Neil Bonnet had predicted earlier.
I would think so, but I don't think we're going to see a massive 4-car slingshot on the leader coming off the 4th turn on the final lap. I don't think the cars are set up to allow that. It's going to have to be won before the final turn.
Somebody was kidding the other day about they're going to have to give the Indiana Jones Award at the finish line for somebody exploring the infield here.
Exactly, the Temple of Doom.
Gordon Johncock stays in front. Neil Bonnet in second. IndyCar driver first. Stock car giant in second place. Twice an Indianapolis champion. This man, Gordon Johncock, looking superb here. Now watch Parsons back there in the dark blue car close up on Rutherford. And again, the car in 5th position. Cream-colored car is that of Darrell Waltrip.
Now, Johncock started this race in 6th place. Bonnet has come from 9th starting position. So it's been good racing all the way. Getting close now. 9 laps to go, 8.5 thereabouts to go. There have to be some figuring out on the part of the drivers as to just how they're going to handle the final lap movements.
Gordon Johncock has won 1 IROC event. He won it here in Michigan, 1979.
Now, Darrell Waltrip has been playing this very cagely today. He stayed out of the shuffle. He's now moved into what looks like a possibly contending position. Keep our eye on that car. I like to call it Coffee Light. It's back there in 5th place now, and he hasn't gone up that high at all. There he is at the tail end of the lineup, and I'm sure he's going to be a factor before too many more laps unfold.
And then it is about 3.5 seconds back to the 6th place car, which is Danny Ungaius. Even though his tires might have been somewhat flat-spotted, he stayed out there, did not pit, and he is off the pace of these 5 leaders. Behind him comes Cale Yarborough in the 7th position. Then comes Sneva a lap down.
And it's amazing, Ken, what aerodynamics will do. Cale Yarborough was very much a contender before, but that 5-car draft, that hooking up with one another, enables them to pull away. And there's nothing that people in the back can do about it.
The 9th position is Earnhardt now. In the 10th position is Emerson Fittipaldi. 11th is Jackie Ickx. 12th, 1 lap down, Tom Sneva. Penalized a lap as they changed the tires on his car. Look at that crowd. Strong getting ready for the finish. 7 to go. Neil Bonnet looks like he's anxious to get down there. Benny Parsons back there goes up underneath. Johnny Rutherford pulls back. Benny Parsons, how difficult will the slingshot be? in equal cars.
It seems as though it's going to be very difficult to draft by, to slingshot by. The lead car just seems to pick up as much as the second place car when he's out in front. And it also lets the lead car run through the turn a little freer than the second place car. So, passing slingshot is going to be very difficult. I think it's going to take 2 or 3 cars getting together to go by one.
On this Saturday afternoon, June 16th, we're moving in on the finish of round 1 of the International Race of Champions for 1984.
For those of you who don't know what a slingshot is, that's where a car behind another car runs up through the vacuum created by the front car and then darts out to the side to use that added momentum to pass. And it's been a trick used to win so many stock car races at tracks like Daytona and Talladega. And that's what Benny Parsons was talking about. And that has been able to win for the second and third place drivers many times recently. We have to see whether it will work here.
0.8 of a second, first to fifth. There you see the leader, Gordon Johncock. Second, Neil Bonnet. Third, the light blue car, Johnny Rutherford. In the fourth position with 5 to go is Parsons. And we've got trouble up in turn number 3. A car looping in turn number 3 lands on the bottom of the racetrack. Back underway. Caution is out. Derek Bell. Old Ding Dong Bell just got rung again.
Exactly. Oh, poor Derek. His reputation will suffer.
Derek Bell, runner-up for the World Endurance title, setting an endurance title of a far different nature here today.
What Derek Bell is doing right now, Ken, is figuring out his exclamations.
All right, these are technical non-counting laps, and we'll have 5 to go, and this is going to bring the field all back together for the shootout to decide round 1. Let's take a look at replay once again, Chris. Oh, looks like the Earnhardt car was there. They got in contact. Dale collected it. Derek collected the infield.
Now, that looks like the first on-track contact of the day. And Earnhardt's tires may be flat-spotted, too.
Let's see what Ned Jarrett has to tell us.
Well, Ken, they are changing all 4 tires on Derek Bell's car. It needs a wash job more than anything else. So apparently he got in some mud up there as he got off of the racetrack. So part of the crew is cleaning the windows, and they did change all 4 tires. So that means that Derek Bell will go a lap down. Now, I think one thing that this caution has done, Danny Ungais had broken away from the pack of Cale Yarborough and others that he was running with. That car seems to be one of the fastest on the track. Now he's been able to catch up. It'll be interesting to see if he can get back up there and battle for the lead. Meanwhile, I feel that Neil Bonnet was sitting exactly where he wanted to be in the second position. He had begun to really work on the front car there to get himself and that one moved away from the front, from the other cars back there. And my prediction is that he'll try to wait until that last lap and make the move, perhaps coming off of turn 2. But it'll depend a great deal on the cars behind him and how they react and what their plans are.
Ned, any other observations from your perspective on what you've seen in the first 45 laps?
I have to agree, Ken, with the theory that these cars might not draft quite as well as some that we've seen in the past. And one reason of that is that they're so sleek. They don't burst open as big a piece of air as the stock cars do and as cars that we've seen in these series in the past. And so the driver is really going to have to set himself up just exactly right in order to make that move. But I feel that Neil Bonnet really has that confidence in his car, and certainly he has it in himself, and I still predict that he's the man that's sitting there waiting to make that move, but he'll wait till the last lap. But again, it's going to depend a great deal on what the cars behind him do, and I think that Ungais is going to come up there and mix them up.
How about it, Chris?
Well, I agree with Ned. I was just looking at Derek Bell, not really familiar with American racing rules. Figured he'd get that lap back by speeding around, and he's been getting the finger pointed at him by the NASCAR officials here. Maybe when the field gets on the backstretch, if our director can give us a shot of Dale Earnhardt's car, we can see whether the left rear corner of his car is damaged from the possible contact with Bell.
Johncock first, Bonnet second, Rutherford third, Parsons fourth. In fifth is Waltrip. In sixth, Ungais, and seventh is Cale Yarborough. And with 5 laps to go, those leaders have stayed out there and been able to pull away Now we're down to where it really counts.
This yellow is a brake for Ongaias where his tires can cool off, you know, that spin over there. Wouldn't it be something? It would be history-making if Ongaias wins this thing after having spun. That would be a first in the IROC competition.
The International Race of Champions from the Michigan International Speedway will continue after this word from your local stations. And there will be 5 laps remaining in round 1 of the International Race of Champions. Let's take a look from Emerson Fittipaldi's viewpoint of what happened. There you see Derek Bell's car up a little, collecting the back end. Ooh, he just missed collecting Emerson Fittipaldi. But you could see the start of that, Chris, where the Derek Bell car seemed to move up about 1.5 feet and go in contact with the Dale Earnhardt car. He went up. Earnhardt didn't come down. There are the standings. John Cock first, Bonnet second, Rutherford third, Benny Parsons lies fourth, Waltrip in fifth, and Ongaias. There's the story in sixth.
Right, it's Indy, stock, and Indy.
Getting set for the restart. Whatever your rooting interests, here we go for 5 laps. There have been 4 cautions. Seems like a lot of cautions with all these top drivers.
The quality of the driving has been shown by nobody running into these spinning cars. They've all taken place in traffic.
You think Emerson Fittipaldi clenched his teeth a little when he gave up on his pal?
He probably said something in Brazilian. Portuguese, I mean.
Turn 3. Pace car, light off, getting set to go for 5 laps. Will it be an Indy car winner, a stock car winner? It's going to sugar off into one or the other here today. Gordon Johncock on the point.
10 miles to go.
Coming to speed. Johnny Rutherford, line third. Sits in the catbird seat and watches that pair that's been dicing up there. Green is out. Ongaias is back in 6th. Did they get look at this? Almost some aggravating racing right there. Earnhardt went down to the inside, climbs up to second. Hello, goodbye, Dale Earnhardt. Look at this assault as we get down to the finish. Earnhardt dove to the inside, scooted down through almost the grass below the line. And it's a whole new race. Waltrip's into second.
That's called stealing a march.
As they go down the back straightaway into second, I believe that's Cale into second. Cale went into second. Now loses the spot. Bonnet comes back.
They didn't wait till the 4th turn of the final lap.
Here they are, down out of turn number 4. As we get ready, we've got a real tremendous finish building. Earnhardt first, Bonnet second, and it is Yarborough's car. That yellow car in third. And look at Waltrip. He's fallen way back. 8th or 9th in there now.
Ken, the crowd is going wild. They're standing up, waving their hats and programs and cheering. It's some final 5 laps, 4 laps to go.
John Cock making a try on the outside. Bonnet first. Here they come. Bonnet takes a very low line, and trailing right along behind him comes Earnhardt. Back to turn number 3. Look at John Cock begin to cover the ground. He is moving in on the leader.
You know, you've got 2 feisty drivers in positions 1 and 2. It's tough guys on any racetrack in any type of car.
Tell you what, they may change the cosmetics on these cars when they come down to the flag, Chris.
You look at Cale Yarborough's car the next time it comes by, Ken, on the right side, there's a big tire mark right in the middle of his name. He's been in close.
Back a bit. Here is Earnhardt. Here comes Yarborough down to the inside. Points for all the positions. 21 to win.
Well, it was 45 laps of gentlemanly racing. It's now back to the old IROC.
Bonnet trying to stay in front. John Cock trying to take it away. They pull away by about 7-8 car lengths from the rest of the field. Meanwhile, there's a tremendous battle developing behind them among 6 cars for 3rd spot. To the line, very low. Down they go into turn number 1. Yarborough slipping back. Waltrip moving around, progresses up to the 3rd position. But it's all here for the win. There's Bonnet in front. They call that color rose. The number 3 car.
See how Bonnet comes across the track there to shut off the road that John Cock might use. See if Gordy can figure it out now.
White flag this time by. 1 to go, and they come around. 2 cars in contact further back into the wall, crashing. The first car to really get in contact is Cale Yarborough's automobile. And you're going to see him get tagged with someone else.
We're going to see another start for one lap.
For 1 lap for the finish. Well, talk about action. And this is only round number 1. Saturday, July 7th. We'll be with you from the road course in Cleveland, Ohio.
Well,
Saturday afternoon.
The J. Signori crew who thought they might have a week off, the body and fender man is already rolling up his sleeves. Cale Yarborough's car is dinged on the right rear corner and the right side. This is going to be something when this... Look at them up front here. They're still skirmishing.
Goes back a lap. There's no reason to hurry here, but they're not taking any chances.
Waltrip had somehow come by John Cock, whether...
Let's take a replay as things begin to get a little physical out there. There you see Cale. And he gets taken by on Gaius from the rear. Had no place to go. With Earnhardt directly in front and Rutherford squeaking through.
There goes Cale's rear spoiler, so his car won't be handling well. As a souvenir on the track for someone.
Lots of souvenirs, all in fiberglass. Cale is now coming down to pit road as we watch the conclusion of this contact and spin in turn 3, which brings around this situation. A white flag and a 1-lap run to decide it all. We'll be back to see that in a moment here in the 1984 round 1 of the International Race of Champions. They will take the white and the green. 1 lap. Neil Bonnet will be on the point. John Cock is right there in second. Waltrip is in third. Parsons is in fourth. Earnhardt is in fifth. Rutherford is in 6th. Danny Ungaius is in the 7th position as we get set to go. Those are the guys who really have a crack at it. There is Cale Yarborough's car after the incident. Torn up, the first one to really get thrashed. Ready for the green flag. Prediction, Mr. Economaki?
Well, John Cock is the only IndyCar driver among all those hotshot stock car men. He's got his work cut out for him.
Getting ready for a green and white flag circumstance, we are told. Green is out from Harold Kinder. And now he drops the white out there. And here they are, trying all kinds of lines. As Parsons dives down to the inside underneath Waltrip, moves up on John Cock. That is Benny Parsons on the inside as we get ready to decide it. Last lap. Waltrip down low. Parsons pulls up for second. Trying to draw away. Bonnet back straight away. Here they come. Bonnet in first. Assault is on into turn number 3 for the final time. Bonnet with a little bit of an advantage. Moving up. Closing in comes Parsons. Waltrip fighting for 3rd spot with John Cock as they come down on turn number 4 to the line. Round 1 of the International Race of Champions is Neil Bonnet. Parsons is second, John Cock third, and finishing 4th was Darrell Waltrip with Johnny Rutherford 5th.
That was quite a finish. I don't know where Bonnet found that speed at the end, the way he leapt ahead of the rest of the field. Is remarkable driving.
So it's over. Neil Bonnet comes down across the stripe, winning as he was able to pull away at the finish.
Well, he did a great job. I wonder how his hand is. It's got to feel good.
Well, it's the first step of 4 toward winning the 1984 International Race of Champions. Neil Bonnet playing a crafty role as he comes through to win round 1 of IROC.
With the winner, Neil Bonnet. Neil, a good run.
I tell you what, Ned, this little purple Easter egg ran pretty good. They were kidding about the color, but the color didn't matter. The thing ran awful good. Jay Signori and all the guys on IROC did one heck of a job with the cars.
Neil, you sat there and ran second for most of the race. I speculated that maybe you were going to wait till that last lap and make the run, but it didn't turn out that way.
Well, Ned, I got the car in what I thought was positioned to win the race on about 4 different occasions, and every time there'd be a big shuffle. And when that last restart, we thought we were coming down at the right pace, and that big pack of cars passed us. And on that last lap, I wanted to be sure I was the guy that led the race on the last lap. I felt like I needed to be second. Every time I'd get second behind somebody, I knew your car would come up there and want to take the lead, and it was hard for me to move my car into second place all day.
Was there as much beating and banging out there as you expected?
No, not really, Ned. I was right behind Danny Angas when he spun. I was right up under him. I never touched him. I saw him turn sideways, and I almost hit Danny. That was the closest call I had all day.
Well, he'll be starting last in the next race in Cleveland on July the 7th here on CBS, the International Race of Champions.
Don't run off, they're stalling.
An exciting opening round for the new International Race of Champions. Neil Bonnet starting in 9th position to come home first, and Benny Parsons from dead last, 12th, to finish in second. As we look at the standings, Johnny Rutherford back there in 6th, and the final 6 in today's race went like this. Dale Earnhardt in 7th, and note that Cale Yarborough finished dead last for 3 points. Tom Sneva just in front of him. Those who came last today shall be first when they get to Cleveland. It'll be Cale Yarborough and Tom Sneva on the front row. Average speed for Neil Bonnet, 145 miles per hour. 9 lead changes among 4 drivers today, and there were 5 caution periods before it was concluded, with Neil Bonnet up on top. For Chris Economaki, Dick Vermeil, and Ned Jarrett, I'm Ken Squire saying good afternoon from the Michigan International Speedway.
This CBS Sports Special, the International Race of Champions, has been sponsored by Chevrolet. With the performance, the style, the innovation, the quality, and the value that make up today's Chevrolet. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Goodyear, makers of Vector, the new design in radial tires.